Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Timikemza James. For those who are seeing me for the first time and for our new subscribers, you're all welcome to the family. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to draft a suit, a jacket, or a blazer, whatever you prefer to call it. Yeah. So you know these jackets that usually have like three panels. That's the front panels, which are obviously two, and then a side panel, then a back panel. That's what I'm going to be showing you, unlike the regular ones which we draft and it has the regular seam on the side. So this one is the side piece. It has like a middle panel, so there's no seam on the center side of the side as well. I hope you understand what I I mean by that, because I have a video where I made the pattern for a notched collar. So for this pattern, we are going to be making the shawl collar jacket. But then if it's almost similar to using the notch collar, so I might just end up telling you how to reverse the collar. If you don't want a shawl collar, how to make it a notch collar. Let me know in the comment section where you're watching me from. This will enable me to bring more videos that will be most relevant or most useful to you. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not yet subscribed, and like my videos if you find them helpful. It will go a long way to help me so I can reach a wider audience, and as well share my video with your friends, guys. So let's get to the cutting table. So guys, at this point I'm going to be using my pattern paper, and I've marked my basic lines. So for my lines, this is going to be my shoulder line and my starting point. Now how I came about this line is from the hem of the pattern paper to this point is the length of my jacket plus 2 inches for that folding allowance for this side to go inwards. So I wanted the jacket to be 30 inches. So I have 32, a total of 32 inches here, because I want to use 2 inch to fold in the jacket or to hem that side of the jacket. Then from this shoulder to this point, which is going to be my chest point or my armhole point, I have 10 inches. Then from the shoulder, I have to my affluence point, which is 18 inches. Then I have 26 inches, which is to my hip line, and then of course the hem of the jacket. So now the first thing I'm going to be doing is to mark 3 inches from this side. From the starting point, I'm going to mark 3 inches like so, and I'm going to be connecting that 3 inches into a straight line. Reasons being that I'm going to be using that point for first my button overlap, then secondly I'm going to be using it for as well to draft part of my shawl collar. So you would need at least 3 inches. If you have more than 3 inches, it will still work fine. So don't forget to make that line there. So it's going to be from the beginning of the shoulder to this point. So this is the side you're going to be using for part of the shawl. Now the next thing, every measurement I'm going to start inserting is going to be from this side of the bodies. So I'm going to, from that line, so I'm going to mark my neckline, which is the standard neckline, which is 3 inches. Then I'll mark the standard armhole, which is 8 inches. Then I'm coming down by 1 inch from that 8-inch point, like so, to make my shoulder slant. Now I'm going to be extending, this is where my shoulder slant ends, but I'll be extending that line. Reasons being that my shoulder is actually more than 16 inches. You know, 8 inches is half of 16. My shoulder is more than 16 inches. So I'm going to complete the measurement on the extended line. So from this point, which is the 8-inch point, I'll follow the slanted line to mark my remaining measurement. So my shoulder is actually 18 inches. So I'm going to mark 1 inch extra to make it 18 inches. I'm going to add more to that because it's a suit and you do not want it all tight on your shoulder. So I'll end up adding like half inch or half of an inch on that side, but that will be much later. So on this chest line now, I'm going to mark my bust measurement. So divide by 4. So I'll mark it here. Then on the waist or the affluence point, I'll mark my affluence measurements, divide by 4 as well. If you want to add ease to your jacket, you can go ahead and add ease at this point. So on the hip line as well, I'll mark my hip measurement, divide by 4 as well. So now I'm going to be connecting those points, but I'm going to be using my hip curve So I'll use my hip curve. The fuller side of the hip curve is where I'm going to mark my hip measurement to my affluence point, like so. Then I'll flip it over, and sorry, let me tape the paper down again. I just tape this paper on my table just to enable it stay still. So I'll just use this curved side to mark to my bust area, right? So now I'm going to mark from this shoulder line. What I have here, I don't mean the 8 inches, that's my new shoulder line. I'll just go ahead and measure that to this point to know what I have. I have 9 inches. So I'm going to mark that 9 inches here, like so. Then I'm going to square that point so that I can have my shoulder curve. So from that point, I'm going to find the midpoint of this line, so half of the 9 inches. But because I've slanted this point, it's not going to be up to 9 inches anymore. So I have 8.5. So I'll mark half of 8.5, which is 4.25, like so. Now this is the front side of the jacket. From this point, which is the half of this 8.5 inches, I'm going to come inwards because it's the front side of the jacket. For the back side, I'm not going to be doing this. So I'm going to come in by 3/4 of an inch, like so. Then I'll come with my French curve and connect that point to here. I'll connect from my bust point to meet that line there. Then I'll connect to the shoulder point, like so. So I'll go ahead and connect it to the shoulder point, like so. So this line now ceases to be important. So the curved line is the one that is going to be most important line now. So now let me lay my paper properly. So now on this hip line, I'm going to go ahead and extend it in a straight line to the hem side here. So I'll just measure what I have on the hip. That's the same thing I'll mark on this side. Then I'll just extend it to meet from my hip to that side. It will be a straight line. So this is her bust for now. So I'm going to mark 3-inch depth for my neckline depth. Then I'll connect it like so with my French curve, right? So now the next thing I'm going to be doing is to draft my back measurement. If you don't know how to draft a basic bodice, I'm going to be linking a tutorial up for you to watch that. So I'm going to be drafting the exact same thing for my back measurement on the other side. So from this side, that end is going to be this side is going to be my center back, right? So I'm going to be marking my 3-inch neckline here, my 8 inches shoulder, and my 1-inch shoulder slope. Then I connect that like so, and I will extend the shoulder slant measurement. Then I mark extra 1 inch, just like I did to the front. Now I'll mark 9 inches here. Then I'll square out this line like so. Then I mark my bust measurement here, right, like so. Then I mark my waist or my affluence measurement like so, and I mark my hip measurement. Then I connect all my measurements together. Look at the way I'm using my curves now. So for the back, the armhole, the shoulder line, the neckline is going to be 1 inch in depth. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect like so. Then I'll make my armhole curve. So for the back, the armhole curve is basically just going to be a basic curve. I'm not going inwards by anything. So this is what we have for our front and our back. Now I'm going to draft out the middle panel using this same panel. So what you're going to do for the middle panel is this. You might have part of the back side crossing into the front side, or it may intercross, but that's not a problem. I would show you how to still use your patterns if it works, if yours turns out that way. So for this one, for most people, is going to be like this. So let me show you how to do this one first, then I'll show you how to make the ones that intercross. So now you have half inch here, half inch here, so there's a difference of half inch for now, so bear that in mind and keep that down. Now I'm going to measure what I have inside of this point here. So i have I have like I have three quarter inside of here. That's on the waist side or the affluent side. I have a difference of three quarter there. So now on that three quarter, I'm going to be adding 2 inches to it. So it's going to give me a total of 5 3/4, right? So I'm going to divide 5 3/4 by 2, right? Just listen carefully. It might look confusing, but if you can go back and watch severally and you understand. So I'll divide 5 3/4 by 2, right? So I have around 2.8 thereabout. So I'm going to draw a line on the midpoint of this, on this center side. I'll make a straight line downwards. So I'm going to I have around 2.9 here. So I'm going to mark that 2.9 from the middle point here. I'm changing my pen because I want you to see the demarcation between the middle panel and the other two panels. So I'm going to mark that 2.9 here. Then from this point as well to the back side, I'll mark the 2.9 as well, like so. So from this side, this midpoint as well, I'll do the same thing and mark the same 2.9 as well. And I'll do the same thing to the hem side of the jacket and mark the same thing, like so. So basically what you're going to do is to just mark that to create a separate panel from both the front and the back panel. So now I'm going to draw this. I'll connect it in a straight line, like so. So you're going to extend the line to come and meet where your armhole is. Let it just touch somewhere around your armhole. So I'll mark like this as well. Then I'll do the same thing for the back panel. Now I've created a separate panel both on the front, out of the front and the back panel. So where this red is the middle panel, but we're not going to leave it flat like that. And don't forget, this was an excess that was supposed to be cut out. That's this shape here was supposed to be cut out, so it has added to our measurement. So I'm going to measure what I have now on the waist. So I'll measure from that point to here. I have a total of 25 inches, and I really don't want 25 inches here, because when you divide, don't forget this is one side of the back, one side of the front. When you divide 25, when you multiply 25 by 2, you have 50 inches, and that's way too much for my waist. So now I'm going to be taking in that, so that by the time I'm done, I'm going to have exactly what I have on my waist. So my waist measurement is actually 42. For what I'm working with here is 42 inches. So which means 50 minus 42, I have a whole 8 inches of that to take overall on the garment. Now don't forget, I'm working on one side of the front, one side of the back, so which is half of my bodies. So in total I have 4 inches of that to take, because I'll divide 8 by 2, because right now this is just half of my panels. So to do that, first off, I'm going to mark on the center back here. I'm going to mark half inch inwards like this. right? So I'll connect this point to the neck, towards the neck side. I'll just dissolve that point there. So on this side, I will connect the half inch to somewhere around my neckline, and this one as well to dissolve on my hip line. So I've taken half of an inch out of the 4 inches that we have. So we are left with 3.5 inches allowance to take. Now from the midpoint on the center front, I'm going to mark my bust span measurements, right? So I'll mark my bust span measurements like so, and I'll mark it on my chest line as well, half of my bust span measurement. So I'm going to connect that point up to my chest point like so. Then I'll mark where my bust is supposed to be. So from the shoulder line, on that straight line, I'll mark my bust point measurement. So I have the mark bust point side like this. So I'm going to take half of an inch for that on both sides. Now you can do more, so I would like to do more, so I'll do 1 inch on both sides. So I have a total of 2 inches there. So I'll just connect it to the bust point like so. So I have this dart out. So we have 2 inches of that here, and we have half inch there. That's 2.5 out of 4. So I still have 1.5, right, to take out. So now I'm going to divide that 1.5 into 2, right? So 1.5 divided by 2, I'll just fold that on my tape. Then on this line, that's where the beginning of the middle panel started. I'll just mark half of that like so here. Then I'll mark half of that here like this. Then I'm going to use my curve now to connect that point. So I'll be connecting from here. That's this point here. I'll connect it here, connect this one to the hip. So I'll just go ahead and connect it like so, like this. Then I'll connect it like this. Like this. So sorry guys, this 0.7 here, I'm supposed to divide it into 2. I'll take part of it on this side, which is the front panel, and part of it on the middle panel, part of it on the back panel here. So I'll still measure half of that 0.75. That was an error, sorry. So I'll mark half of that here, and the other side here I'll do the same thing on the back. So I'm taking both on the middle panel and on the other panel. So I'm going to, so this line, sorry, this line was an error. So let me just clean that out so you can see. So I'm just going to connect like so to this point. So this is the new line. Then this one as well on this side, right? So I'll connect it to the hip. So on the hip side, I like using curves. So I'll do the same thing on this side, the back side as well. Like this. So now this is what we have. This is our back panel, this is the middle panel. So let me trace where we are going to be cutting out on the middle panel for you to see. So this dart leg here is from here, so this to this point like so. downwards. And then for the front panel, this is where we are going to be tracing out like this. Then the back side as well, we have here. And then here. Right, so this is the middle panel here, then the back panel, and then the front panel. Now for this dart, we are not just going to leave the dart leg like this. So if you're adding a pocket, you can go ahead and mark where you want your pockets to be. But for now, I don't want to go in that far. In another video, I'll show you how to add that pocket. But for now, let me just leave it as a dart. So on the hip line, I'm just going to mark my bust span measurement as well, just so I can extend my dart. So I'll mark my bust span measurement, then I'll go up from the hip by 1.5 inches, then I extend that dart to that point like so, and like this, right? So now we are going to measure what we have on the chest, so that we can, on the waistline, so we know if our measurement at this point is correct. So from here, I'll measure to this point. I have 4.2. I'll just pick it up from 4.2 and extend the measurement. Sorry, let me flip my tape like so. So I'll start measuring from here. Whatever I have here, I'll pick it, jump the dart, and continue to this side of the front. I'll pick it from there, then I'll jump the dart that we have here, and I'll continue from here like so up to this point like so. So this is our middle panel. Just pick that and jump that and I'll continue up to here. So you can see I have about 20 points, almost 20 and a half. So that means it will be fine for my waist. Remember I said my waist is 42, so that would be fine for my waist. So that's it. So now let me ensure that the upper side is accurate, right? So for the bust side, I'm going to measure what I have here like so, to this side, right? So by the time I'm done, so for my bust, I have a half of an inch excess, right, for me to take out. So I'm going to share that half of an inch into two. So that will give me 0.25. So from here, from this line here, like so, that I extended here, I'm going to mark 0.25 there. Then I'll connect back to the dart line from that waist side. So I'll connect it like that from this dart. Then I'll extend it from there, and on the back as well, I'll do the same thing. So from this point, I'll mark 0.2. From this line, I'll mark 0.25 inwards as well. Sorry, from here it will go inwards because I'm trying to take it out from the middle panel. So we'll just go ahead and connect like so. So it should be fine now. So this now becomes my middle panel, this curve like so, right? It now becomes my middle panel. So I'm just going to cut out all my panels, but before then, let's come back to our collar. So this is our middle panel from here, right? The front one starts from here, so I'm just going to start this side up to the back side that extends to here. So I'll just start this side. So the back side, for the middle panel, the back side, the curve is longer than that of the front side, right? So now I'm going to do my collar. So I'll measure what I have on the back side of my neckline here. I'll measure what I have here. So I have around 3.6. So I'll mark 3.6 here. I'll just bring my ruler and connect from somewhere from my affluence point to this side of my, or let's start from the chest point. So I'll just mark my chest point. From my chest point, I'll mark my ruler. So I'll mark 3.5 like so, or 3.6. I'll mark it like so. Then I extend it like this, right? So when I extend that, I'm going to go backwards by half of an inch. From this point, I'll go towards the shoulder so that it sits nicely. The collar sits nicely on the back side. Then I'll connect it back. So I'll use a curved side of the ruler to connect it backwards like so. So I'll connect it like so. Then I'll mark the length of the width of my collar, which I would like it to be 3.5. So I'll mark 3.5 here. Then this side will be a straight line. So I'll just draw it to the 3.5 inch mark here. Then now, what I'm going to do, I'll determine where I want my button to be. So I want my button somewhere from my affluence point. So I'll mark 1 inch for my button extension. I'll just mark 1 inch. So I'll go ahead and connect this 1 inch for the button overlap like so. So this, then I'm going to connect this point here. I'll just go ahead. Now you are at liberty to make any shape of neckline that you want. So from this chest side, you can just go ahead. From here, it's actually free for you to choose whatever you want to do. So I'll mark 2.5 here from the chest line like so. Then I'll just connect it to this button overlap. Mark it like so. And I'll just get a curve to go and meet this side here. Sorry. So this is how I want my front side to be. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out for now. This side just sort of curves in like so. So you can see. So it just breaks in like so. This side is on fold. This is the side that goes with the back side. It curves like this to the back side of the jacket. So when it's properly drafted, because it's paper and I don't want to tear it.
So guys, this is it
these are
about
all
our
our panels.
So
I'm going
for
to be
the
showing you
one that
how
overlaps,
to
we'll
bring out the
run it
middle
in our
panel
next
if
video
there's an
because I do
overlap
not want the
on
video to be
your
extensively long.
measurements.
So see you in my next tutorial, guys. And if up till now you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe.